Hey everybody, David here from Axe Annex, and today I have a video request to show how I've painted a miniature using, well, pretty much all Vallejo washes. It's not 100% Vallejo washes, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to throw up a few colors I have on the spinner now, show you what I got. I got some rust wash. I got some green shade, I think. The label's worn off of that one. Some olive green, gray, a whitewash. That one's a bit of a strange one. Blue gray, pale gray, desert dust, flesh wash, sepia shade, red shade, blue wash, and umber wash. Some of them are from the game color range, and some of them are from the model range. The model ones are in the bigger bottles. They're pretty nice bottles. I like those big bottles. They're all pretty great. They are in dropper bottles, which bothers some people, but they don't bother me none. They don't bother me none. So let's see. I'm gonna pop open my wet palette. I want to show you what the consistency of a Vallejo wash is. And really, it's what puts a lot of people off of Vallejo washes. They don't really like the consistency. And I think in terms of being just a wash that you would slap over miniatures, not necessarily the best. They're kind of thick. Put a little on my wet palette here. And you can see I can draw it. This also looks a little chunky. Honestly, I have no idea how old these washes are. They're pretty old. It doesn't matter too much, though. So what they are good for is staying in place. They're not great for flowing. So if you're doing a pin wash, it's not so bad. It stays where it needs to go. You dot it around. But yeah, if you're trying to, do the null oil trick or the Agrax Earth shade all over your wash or your miniature, it's just not going to do the trick. So here I have a Dark Age warrior that I painted with the Vallejo washes. And I finished off with a bit of Ali's brown liquid, because brown just ties everything together really nicely. The thickness kind of keeps them put where you put them. So it's pretty easy to paint with them. I guess they work more like a glaze overall, you might say. And they are transparent, which is nice. And you could build them up with the wash layers. So one way to paint with washes is to go with a two-tone approach. So if you want to change the color contrast, you don't want to have just like the straight up, say the green color that we had out of this one. You want maybe more of a tan tone. What you do first is you put on the desert dust here. You let that dry, and then you slap on the green shade, and you'll get a nice tonal variation. I think I did that with the pants. That might have been the olive green. I can't remember now. So you can mix them up, the two different colors. If you want to have some leathers, you could add the sepia shade first, and then hit it with the umber. And that'll create a nice kind of old, dirty leather. The hair is also a two-tone wash. And that one possibly is the desert dust with a sepia shade over top. I'll try it on the next guy. Well, let's see it in action. So I got this spear dude. I'm going to use him as a bandit in 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. Okay, there's going to be one part that I use the washes on, but first I'm going to put a little Sharpie on. This one's just a dollar store metallic Sharpie knockoff. And it's a little bit darker than a regular metallic silver Sharpie, but not by too much. It's a nice color. It's maybe $1 at most. Pretty handy. So we'll paint that on. Let that dry. And we'll come in with a wash again later. Next up, I'm going to try subtonal variations on this clothing. So I'm going to add the pale gray to the rim of his hat, the jacket, and just little parts of the pants up there. And then I'll put on some of the brighter colors and see if I can make like a faded poor man's dye job on his clothes. I'm going to get a bigger brush. These Gripping Beast Dark Age Warriors sure do get the job done for a lot of situations. They're part of my main army for Oathmark. They're going to be outlaws for 5 leagues from the Borderlands. I still got more. I don't know how I ended up with so many. Through trades and stuff, though. They're almost kind of ubiquitous nowadays. At least in my circles. So, after you put on the first layer of the wash, you need to let it dry. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let it dry. So now I want to make some dirty leather colors. So what I'll do is I'll take some of the sepia shade. Okay, so I'll put a little sepia on his boots. And on his hat. Maybe I'll put a little on his necklace. Next, I will take some desert dust. Alright, a little desert dust I'll put on his little leg wraps. There's his belt. And then his hair. And this little mustache. This guy looks like a teenager to me. A teenager with a mustache. Sometimes he gets sloppy and you spill the wash. We don't necessarily mean it to go. But usually it's fine. It all just kind of blends together. Alright, next we'll go for that burnt umber, which I already have on my palette. I'll put it on the wooden shaft of the spear. And a little flesh wash. I think the flesh wash was the first wash I ever bought from Vallejo. And it's not my favorite color overall in terms of flesh washes, but it does the job. Now the gray is dry, so I'll come in with the clothing colors. I'll give him a red tunic. And I'll take the gray armor, the blue-gray, and I'll add it to his hat and also the spear point. Then I'll paint his pants with the blue. Let's get some of that burnt umber back. Or we'll put another coat on the spear shaft. And the boots. And the hat. Maybe I'll double down on the desert dust for his hair. Alright, so I'll take some sepia and put it in where the leg wraps are, as well as the belt. Oh, and his little necklace as well. We'll double down on that one. Maybe just a little touch here. So slightly discolored metal. Get another round of the flesh wash. And lastly, let's just dry. A little bit tacky. I think it should be okay. Do a little more of the red shade. Let's go a little heavier on it. Definitely wants to pool there. Alright, so that's this stage finished. So maybe I want to put one more burnt umber on the spear shaft as well. It's not too bad as it is. Pretty weathered, but I think I want to go a little deeper with that color. So if I was just painting with washes, he would be pretty much done. If I wanted to use my Ali's brown liquid, which I will, then I'm just going to let them dry, and I'll come back and I'll hit them with the Ali's brown liquid, just tie everything together. And otherwise, you could just do a little bit of highlighting, especially around the face. Get a little facial detail, paint the eyes if you feel like it. Then you can call this guy done, because he's just a dude. He doesn't need to be too fancy. He's a plain man. There we go. Just a plain man. Just here to take your money and be about his business. All right. Well, maybe I'll just draw a little bit of a line back onto the sharper points, the business end of his spear. There we go. All right. So we'll let some time pass, and then I'll put on Ali's brown liquid. I'll finish off the basing, and I'll throw them up on the spinner. We can see what you think. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.